Hey, what's going on, everybody? Adam here from the It's Adam Show. It is episode number 9 today, and we got on another fighter, except, in my opinion, this guy is the craziest of all of them. And that's because he is still pushing the ring, from firefighting to doing his own martial arts gym and just being around in the cage for so many years. Ladies and gentlemen, we are welcoming Josh Hill to the show. Thank you for coming on, sir.
No problem, buddy. Thank you for that crazy introduction.
You're very welcome. I wanted to jump right in and ask about your fight name because I was doing a little digging online and I saw that your fight name, Gentleman Josh Hill, came from Jerry Valiant.
That's
What's the
correct.
story there?
Yeah, man. My great uncle was John Hill was his real name.
Mm-hmm.
But he was a pro wrestler, went by many names. That was probably his most famous gimmick, most famous role. He was Gentleman Jerry Valiant,
Mm-hmm.
part of the Valiant Brothers tag team champs back in the day. Back when the WWE was the WWF, way back in Vince McMahon senior days.
Right.
But yeah, man, he was pretty well known at the time, and it was my grandpa or my uncle or my dad. I can't remember. One of them said he should go by, Gentleman Jerry,
Yeah.
Gentleman Josh Hill, like him, and just kind of stuck.
Yeah. So just curious, was he like an inspiration to like getting you into fighting? And yeah, like what's the story on that? Like how did Gentleman influence you, Gentleman Josh Hill?
Not really, to be honest. I only met him, I think, twice my whole life. He lived in
Okay.
the States as I was growing up, and it was just more my grandpa, my papa was, he was more like the inspiration, I guess, and my dad, of course. But um, yeah, it was just a cool thing to kind of carry on.
Mhm.
It was more a homage to my grandpa, I think, more so than to my great uncle. Just to him too, of course, but I just didn't know him that well. But yeah, it was just kind of like, it was something from the family, the hillside to carry on and kind of take it from pro wrestling and do it into mixed martial arts.
That's cool. Is it like a reflection of like your fighting style um, for your opponents, or is it more so just like a nickname?
Uh, I I think I think so. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not one to like talk shit or to be a trash talker beforehand, unless they're already doing it, and then I'll entertain it. But it just doesn't come off as natural to me to start it like that because it's just not me.
Mhm.
And yeah, majority of my opponents, I've it's always been cool after the fight, and some of them I'm still friends with, and yeah, so I would say it goes to that as well.
Okay. That's pretty cool. I'm just curious about that because I always wonder how some fighters get their middle name. So thanks for answering my question there. I
Sure.
wanted to get into the first segment here, asking about, when you started martial arts. I saw you started martial arts at 20. I know some fighters like Jazz Vitakis up in Niagara Top Team. She started a little bit later, and they've all gone on to do some really cool things. So yeah, what were you doing at 19 before you got into getting the fighting?
Oh man, just in school and playing junior hockey. Those
Mhm.
are and I was still playing rugby at the time too. But yeah, that was my main thing. Just playing junior hockey. I knew I wasn't going anywhere with it. It was just more for fun. I
Mhm.
played junior C for years, and yeah, man, I knew that once that was done, I just needed to kind of fill that gap there. Maybe a place to unleash some aggression. You know what I mean? I always love fighting,
Yeah.
and it just kind of fit naturally. So yeah, I started training. I think it was my last year of junior. I started training, and
Mhm.
then after the junior was done, just jumped into MMA.
How did hockey? I mean, these are both fighting sports, so it's fairly obvious, like rugby and hockey, that like blends perfectly into martial arts. How did that, I guess, like help you transition into doing martial arts? And what did you start with as well?
Oh, hockey was yeah. I've been playing hockey since I was like 3, 4 years old.
Oh,
That was my still is my favorite sport, and I still play. Um, but yeah, just I think my style of hockey player carried over well. I was like a banger crasher. very fast. I was always usually the fastest in every team. I was small. But I love to throw the body around. I love to get in the corners, love to mix it up. You know,
Mhm.
it was more like a power forward role. I always kind of said I played like a Darcy Tucker type role. I could score goals for sure. But I really like to get in there and mix it up.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I think that just kind of carried over well into MMA for me.
And does that like influence your fighting style as well, like that crasher mentality that you were just talking about, or is it kind of changed?
It's kind of changed. I think one thing, and I think this has kind of given me some long, length in my career is the way I do fight. I'm very like I say cerebral. Like I try to be methodical, and I don't just go out there and swing for the fences and hope for the best, and I don't just go out there and rely on my chin to take a shot. You know, like
Mhm.
I can do that, but I'd much rather not. I'd much rather not get brain damage and whatnot, and be tactical with my fights. I guess very similar like a GSP type approach, like try
Mhm.
to take my opponent where where he's weakest and where I'm at my best. And yeah, I consider myself a very technical fighter and
Mhm.
defensively sound too.
Is that something you learned from your trainers, or something you kind of built up naturally on your own?
Um, I think it was more something from my own. Obviously my trainers and all my coaches throughout the years have helped me for sure.
Mhm.
But yeah, just something that I do well. I'm a more so a counter striker. I love pulling guys in and trying to counter their shots. Sometimes to a fault, I do it too much.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I think one of my biggest weapons I think is my timing. My timing on counters, my timing on takedowns, things like that. Something that I've always done pretty well.
That was something you were teaching us at the one Genius seminar is like some of those footwork pieces, but the timing especially. I remember you harping on that. So um, the timing, you said that sometimes backfires on you. How does that go?
I think sometimes I wait too much or I try to set up the perfect opportunity too much and I wait too long for it, right?
Okay.
Um, yeah, I've done that. I've lost close fights, decisions that were very close fights. Some I thought I won, just for waiting too long to get that perfect shot,
Mhm.
or putting my back to the fence a little bit too much, trying to draw in those counter shots, right? So things like that, it can bite you in the ass a little bit, but yeah, I would say that's to my fault in that regard.
Cool. It's kind of cool, like the progression you're talking about, like how you learn from it, and then applying that further into your fighting career. I was curious. So you got into your first professional fight 3 years after you started doing martial arts. I know you've been asked this one probably many, many times, but walk me through the first phone call because you got called 2 weeks out, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
What was that like?
it was cool. My coach Alan Hamajin, he had another guy, my wrestling coach at the time, Adrian Woolley, was fighting. But it was called W1 back in the day. It was one of the
Mhm.
promotions then, and he was their champ. And they had a fight fall through, and they had an opening at 145, another debuter. And he asked if I wanted. I was like, yeah. So it was 2 weeks. So I didn't really have time to kind of think about it. Really, it was just kind of like we're doing this, and so it kind of helped in that sense. But it was my first time I've ever stepped in a cage or ring. I've never had any amateur fights. I had a handful of grappling tournaments,
Mhm.
and that was really the extent of my individual competition. So it was a crazy experience. And people always ask like, what fights were your favorite? And I always say my first was probably definitely one of the tops, just because of how, uh, you know, unfamiliar it was for me and how much of a crazy high it was and the way it went too. I guess the win, and I ended up getting knocked out of the night in my debut, and
Mhm.
just things like that. It was a crazy experience, man, but one I'll always remember.
Mhm. So when you were 2 weeks out from that fight, like were you like in prime shape, ready for this fight, or were you just like, let's do it?
I was training a lot for sure. Like I was in good shape. I try to always stay in decent shape. Like I never just like let myself go and get out of shape. But there's a big difference between being in fight shape and just being in good shape. And I've never had a fight before, so once I got into the nerves zapped me, right? Like, um,
Yeah.
and the way the fight went too is because I remember how when he came at me and I kind of clinched him and I kneed him in the head and I sent him flying like 10 feet. And I was just kind of like, oh, I just did that. Oh my God. And I tried to finish him. And I hurt him bad, but he was tough and he kept coming and went into the second round. And I just remember how exhausted I was going into the second. Like my arms just felt like cinder blocks were hanging off him. And again in the second, I threw a big flurry at him. I cut him open, and he was still standing up. I was like, "Oh my God!" Like I don't know how I'm gonna get out of this. And then, luckily, I just landed that one big shot and dropped him and finished it. And I was so obviously happy for the win, but I was so relieved it was over because I was so gassed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, so from that being your first experience getting in the ring, I plan to eventually get into the ring. So I appreciate your um, your information you're bringing across here. So what? Here's that was your first experience getting in the ring. What did you think, knowing your past experience, going into your second fight?
So going into the second one, so now I knew kind of what it felt like to be in there, right? But in my second fight, I remember this too. On the way to the city, the venue, I got a call saying my opponent pulled out, but they had a new opponent for me. So opponent changed a day before weigh-in. I was like, okay. And ended up being his name was Randy Turner. Good dude, good fighter too. He was from there, so it was his hometown, and it was Fight for the Troops night, and he was in the military.
Oh,
So I remember walking out, and it was just the whole crowd was just all for him. Like he was like the
oh man.
main draw, right? So it was just such a crazy experience to be I knew I was going to be the out of town guy, but like it was amplified. And in the fight, it started well, and I took his back, and he stood up, and then he kind of dove, and I remember I separated my shoulder in the first round. And I was like thinking in my head, I'm like, oh my God, my shoulder, I can barely lift it. But I ended up grinded out another 2 rounds, and I won basically with my grappling, and ended up winning a decision. And after the fight, I couldn't lift my arm like past my shoulder at all. But it was that was just another crazy experience, especially back to back for those two. So
Aside from your extremely hard work ethic, what was the difference between you losing and you winning? Or you won all of your first 8 matches, but like, how did that streak come to be, and what was your mentality behind that?
I don't know, man. I just I had good people around me too, helping me. My coaches and Alan, and Adrian, and Scotty and Linda, and all the guys that were helped me grow over the years, and Rory. Um, just that, and yeah, just I think my work ethic, and I just think I know that I was always raised tough. You know what I mean? And I think being a smaller guy, always in a contact sports, just kind of gave me like a chip on my shoulder. Um, and my athleticism. I'm a good athlete. So I can kind of
Definitely.
adapt to situations, and sometimes early on in my career, I did rely on my athleticism to win me some fights for sure. So I think all those things in place, kind of, yeah, I went on a good streak there at the start of my career, and I didn't lose a match. And professionally until Ultimate Fighter, but they didn't count those on your record. So my first one would have been for the world title against Marlon. Yeah.
I want to get to that afterwards, but first thing I wanted to pick on was your experiencing before we went live mix here. We were talking a little bit about your firefighting experience. When were you doing this in your fight career?
So originally, that's what I went to school for. I went to Brock first, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and then I went to fire college after. And that was kind of the goal before I even thought about fighting. That's what I wanted to do. And so I was on Hamilton for 3 or 4 years. I can't remember. Yeah. Volunteer fire there, Station 18. and it was fun. It was cool, met a lot of cool people, and I also did a lot of part-time work in like the hazmat field and stuff.
Hmm.
So that was they kind of go hand in hand. And then MMA kind of took over, and that kind of took over my life, and that went on the back burner. And then with the amount of time I was out of town, wasn't really making calls, so it just wasn't really fair to stay on and not ever be there.
Mhm.
So yeah, and that been on the back burner ever since. And it's such a hard field to get a job in, full-time job. Now it's like there's so many people that want to do it, right? Because so yeah, to go back and redo all the certifications and all the tests and all the city applying, and it's a lot. I never say never, but it just, yeah, it was one of the things that fell off the back burner. I just never got it back to it.
I know I have some friends that are firefighters, and they'd have to be, they'd be at the house, or they might be out like training or whatever, and they'd get a call, and they'd have to go out and get it. Do you have any stories like that, or no?
Oh yeah, like we care what, especially like as a full time, you're there, right? You just
Mhm.
that's what you're doing. But when you're in volley, yeah, you have a pager, you carry it with you everywhere you go. So all the time, I got those, man. Whether I was training, I could jump out of there if I was in town, or yeah, you're at dinner, family dinners, middle of the night, all that kind of stuff. You're dropping everything you're doing and run to the station, and you're going on calls. So it's fun. But as I've gotten older, I like, especially with kids and stuff, it's like if I'm gonna go to my job, I want to be at my job and that's it. Like I don't want to have it constantly always on my hip,
Mhm.
um, where I don't know if I can make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've been learning about that and reading about that a lot recently. The like this mentality shift to like being where your feet are. Is that kind of like I mean, yeah, it's kind of like the same thing you're saying, right? Just like if I'm at the gym, I want to be at the gym. If I'm doing firefighting
Yeah,
stuff, yeah.
yeah, for sure. And it just becomes, like I don't want to, if I'm going to something to do with my daughter, I don't want to have to just bounce out because I got a call,
Hmm.
all the time. So I just want to separate work from that life. And with a volley, you can never do that because you're always on call, right? So,
Hmm. Now I want to bring gears over because I saw that you were on season 18 of like Dana White's. What would you even? No, the Ultimate Fighter. Yeah, yeah, season 18. Um, yeah, how did you get on that show? I used to watch that show all the time.
yeah, I was like, I think I was 9-0 at the time, and I was talking with UFC already. So I was like on the bubble of kind of getting there.
Hmm.
And then that show came up, and they said they're doing bantamweights, and they're like, and they said to me, basically said, "You're coming to try out, right?" Because so I knew going into it, I had a really good chance of being on the show. They were interested. They were already talking to me. So yeah, I went down to Vegas. I did the tryouts, and then I don't know, a couple weeks later, we got a call back saying, "Yeah, you're on. You got to fight to get in." And that was that, man.
So for I guess anyone that doesn't really understand how like the Ultimate Fighter works, yeah, like how does it work with like you being on the show and then you being available to get like into the UFC? Like how does that whole system kind of work?
It's just another avenue, and I can't believe it's still going. To be honest, they're on season 200. I don't even know what they're on now, but I was on 18, and even then, I had stopped watching it just because I don't know. I watched it up until like season 5,
Mm.
and then I just kind of couldn't really keep up with it. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's just another avenue to get in nowadays. They have Dana White's Contender series, which is much kind of more popular.
Hmm.
Ultimate Fighter was gone, now it's back, I guess. And then you can also just get signed outright too, or a lot of times it's last minute replacements too, where you get a call on a week's notice or two, and you can fill in for somebody that pulled out.
Hmm. So behind the scenes of like the television show, has there been like any like funny stories or things that people just don't really see live on the camera?
Uh, Man, like you just ours was the first one with girls on the house, in
I
the
saw
house.
that, yeah.
So yeah, so that was. But they even said to us right when we got there, like, guys, sorry, you guys are taking a back seat. This is the first year we got girls. We have girl coaches, so
Mm.
it's kind of all about them. And like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. Not, I mean, it just kind of like they film everything you do. Like the only place you don't have a camera on you is when you go to the bathroom, man. That's pretty much it. Um, but you know, it is when you have to give you a necklace, and that's where your mic is.
Mm.
And you wear that everywhere you go. And in the middle, you put it beside your bed, and then in the middle of the night, sometimes you'll wake up and there'll be a guy like creeping in there to switch your microphone. So that's funny.
Yeah. What? That's crazy. Okay.
At least that would happen to me. I don't know if that's anybody else.
At least you don't know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, I mean, like we're used to getting like being in front of camera. Like I know like there's some like TV shows where like people are always in front of the camera like that. I mean,
Yeah.
I put myself in front of the camera a lot, but it's also I'm the one clicking the camera, not somebody else. Like what was like that for the first time?
You get used to it. The first day, everybody's like, we were like sitting in a room talking, then a camera crew would walk in and start filming you, and then we just kind of like stop talking, and they're just like, guys, just continue. And then after a day or two, you just kind of like you kind of forget they're there, to be honest, and you kind of live normally.
Do some of the people you find, just like curious, like behind the scenes of it, do you feel like some of the people like change how they act as a character, or do you just you can be your natural self and that's totally fine?
Um, yeah, I think they amplify themselves for sure. Some people for sure. Just you know, they if they're a bit of a dick, then they're a huge dick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or if they're a loud person, then they're really loud. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I definitely see that for sure. But I'm sure there's guys out there that definitely put on a persona just just to be that guy. You know what I mean? Especially nowadays with all everybody's just about attention, right? So
Mhm.
whoever gets the most clicks, the most views, and um, yeah. When I was doing the show, like I remember social media nearly wasn't nearly as big as it is now. I
Yeah,
think I just got Instagram right after, I think. So it was a different time.
different time. When was this? Is back in
It was
20?
2013.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. That was over 13 years ago. Wow.
Yeah.
Um,
Like I said, man, I'm old, dude. I'm old
yeah,
now.
I was 5 years old when that show came out.
Oh my God. That's scary.
Okay, I want to ask about some of your peak times in your fight career. Talking about favorite matches, worst matches. I had a lot of fun with Anthony about this. Talking about injuries, even if you care to bounce on that. But first question is, what's been your favorite fight of all of them? You got many to choose from.
Oh man. I always mention my first fight, like I told you, just because the experience.
Mm-hmm.
And also I always mention this right during my first fight when I finished the fight, right when the ref stepped in and waved it off. I literally like turned around and then, like of the whole crowd, I just happened like it was my dad right there, and jumped up and like he was the only person I saw. It was just like it was just kind of weird that I just like the way I turned, he was sitting right there. But
Television.
so I always remember that, yeah. But I mean, I don't know, man. I've had the Jesse Arnett fight was a big one. Because you know he was Jesse was on a tear, and a lot of people were saying, you know, who's the best bantamweight in the country at the time, and we ended up fighting a TKO, and I got a big knockout in the second round. So that was a huge win for me. Um, I would say Justin Scoggins in Bellator.
Yeah.
That was a big knockout, and it was on a huge platform. So that was a great one. The one that I lost would be the Marlon #1 fight when I fought for the title,
Mm-hmm.
against Marlon. And Marlon at the time was a killer, you know, just like going through everybody and amongst the best in the world. And then went on to the fight for the UFC title too. So, but in that first fight we had, you know, it was an awesome back and forth war. And I think I kind of proved to a lot of people that I was, you know, amongst the top in the world in that one. So
You went the
yeah,
full
man, it's hard.
25 minutes.
Pardon me?
Did you go the full 25 minutes on that one?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we did. So
How was that?
yeah, I mean it's tiring. I did it once before. I fought for my fifth fight. I fought and won the Aggression MMA. It was a big organization out west at the time. Their bantamweight title. So and I went 25 for that one too. So it was my second time going the full distance. It's tiring. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done it 1, 2, 3 times now. Yeah, 3 times.
Now, I want to ask about flipping the direction on the question there. What's been your worst fight?
My worst fight.
That could be feeling, that could be outcome, whatever you deem
My worst
necessary.
fight that I won was I fought at home in Hamilton. I got like actually it happened twice. Once
No.
in Romania and once at home. I don't know. Romania was food poisoning for sure. Um, and like I just couldn't keep anything down, and my weight was like I weighed in at 36, and in the cage I was like 42, 41. I just couldn't put any weight back on. So that one sucked. But I ended up, I dropped the guy. I knocked him out basically in the first round. I woke him back up, and then I had to go 2 more rounds. But got the win. And then yeah, I fought in Hamilton, and I felt horrible. I don't know I had a sickness or something, but same thing. First round, I was able to manage through, but then I was gassed and I had to grind out another 2 rounds, and I felt horrible. But got the win. Worst fight that I lost would probably be probably the only time that I've been finished, with Marlon too. I going into that fight, I felt super confident. In the first round we had, I felt really, really good. And then the second round, I just kind of faked a level change. At the same time, he threw up a quick kick and just kind of caught me, kind of like almost like the neck, like right on my chin, and dropped me. And I was kind of like stunned for a second, and then he finished me off. And yeah, it was. Yeah, I've never been finished before. I've never been knocked out, and that was the only time I've ever had to deal with that. So yeah, that's always you never want that. So that's probably my worst loss for sure.
Like of all your ever fight, like every fight you've ever done, you've never. That's the only one you've been knocked out on.
Yeah,
That's nuts.
yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah.
Man. Okay, so I mean, how do you think your opponent feels going into your match or going into a match against you? I mean, you have a fight coming up, right?
I do. Yeah, in 2.5 weeks.
Yeah. How do you think your opponent feels knowing that you've only ever been knocked out once and you've been fighting for decades?
I mean, if I have his mindset, or like if he had my mindset, I'd be thinking I can do it again to him. You know what I mean? So I don't know if he's thinking that, but he's gonna try. This guy's he's a gamer. He's gonna show up and try. So I just got to be me. That's all. Just be me and not worry about that shit, and go do my game. And it can happen to anybody, of course, right? Like,
Yeah.
zig when you should have zagged, and especially in this sport where it's the repercussions are devastating, because little gloves or shins or knees, things like that, they get through, and they can end the night quick, right?
Have you had a really scary moment in your career, like that could be like an injury or something outside of the cage that maybe really kind of threw you off the path?
Yeah, I was getting ready for a fight in Russia. I had already fought out there. Then they offered me a short notice fight to fight for the featherweight title, a weight class up. And it was on like 2 weeks notice, and they offered me really good money, and I said yes. And day 2 into training, I tore my pec completely off.
I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably my worst injury. I was out for like 6, 7 months after that. So I missed that opportunity, missed my next fight opportunity, and then I had like 4 fights fall through after that. So that was at a low point for sure. That was at a point where I was just like, is it even worth it to do this anymore? Yeah, so that sucked, man, for sure.
You were enrolled in school at the same time. What were you doing?
I was enrolled in school at the same time. Was I at that time? I don't remember.
I think I read somewhere. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. Oh, maybe it was for sports psychology. I did go back to school for that. It was online. And yeah, I did that for a few years actually. I wasn't a certified sports psychologist, but I was uh, I don't know, a mental coach is what I called it, just because legality wise. But yeah, I learned a whole lot about that side of the game, and something I always struggled with early on in my career. And I ended up doing it for quite a few athletes. I think I worked with over 35 people. A lot of fighters, some other athletes too in other sports, wrestlers, hockey players,
Hmm.
things like that. So, and it was just something like, then I had my kid after that, and I just kind of didn't really have time to do it with everything I had going on. So, but it's something I still really enjoy, and I talk to people about it that I need now,
Sorry, what did you say you did with the? I missed that story. You did with the
like
35
basically
people.
a mental coach,
Oh,
sports
nice.
psychology. Yeah.
What kind of work, if you don't mind, like talking about it? Like, would you actually kind of like bring through them? And were they fighters as well?
A lot of them were fighters, but they did some guys were hockey players, some people were wrestlers. But just basically, a lot of people dealing with, not fighting to their full potential because their mental state, whether it be in the match, in the fight, before, things like that. And I just gave them tools and practices and things like that to overcome that, and kind of use it for them instead of being against them.
Right. That's cool. I
Yeah.
like that. And that kind of came from the psychology program and then your own
Yep.
experience, right?
Yep.
That's awesome. Did you see like other people at the time doing that? Like, what inspired you to kind of start doing that?
No, I mean everybody talks about it, especially nowadays. But it was just something I always dealt with. I would get so nervous before fights, and I think it hindered some of my performances, even fights that I won, where I could have done better, just because I was so worried about fear of failure, fear of losing, fear of what people thought, things like that.
I I got a question for you. I have a big event coming up, and I'm seeking your wisdom on some stuff. All right, so help me out, please.
Okay.
I got a big run coming.
Oh, still there? I think I lost you.
Uh,
Oh, going back.
and I mean, seeing that you,
Oh, there you are.
oh, I'm back.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry. Did you hear me now?
There you go. There you go.
Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. That's weird. It glitched. Okay. Sorry. You hear me again?
You're a little choppy, but yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Sorry. Do you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay. Sorry. Did you hear my question, or I gotta ask it again quickly?
Yeah, I just heard you say you got to run. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. It got cut off. Yeah. Okay. So I got a question. I want to get your advice on this. Seeing that you've been able to, recover from pec injuries, been able to go around the world, do these fights. So I got a big run coming up. I'm going to be gone for a few weeks, running around Lake Ontario. What do I do on day 14 when my body's trashed and I don't want to go on?
Is day 14 the last day?
No, it's day 21 is the last day, but I'm just
Oh,
like
okay.
a
I
little way
see.
through.
Um, Basically just remind yourself of why you're doing it, you know what I mean? And also remind yourself like of the feeling of regret will be far worse than the feeling of how tired you're gonna be. You know what I
Right.
mean? And how beat up you'd be. Um, yeah, and it'll just always be something that eats at you, like, oh man, I could have pushed through that and I gave up. And that's on me. And it's just something you always got to think about, and that's a shitty feeling, right? So
Sucks.
that's why I'd much rather be exhausted and beat up or whatever, but at least you had no regrets of quitting on yourself.
Nice. I I appreciate that because that's something that helped me through my first ultra is when I did like this 100-mile ultra around my neighborhood, I wrote on my hand my goal of why I did it, so I would never forget. So that kind of resonates, and I'll probably do it again. Maybe I won't write on my hand. I had to write it a few times with Sharpie, which was annoying, but you
No,
understand.
yeah, for sure. We like positive affirmation, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also like a trigger word or a trigger action that kind of sets you back into a mental space where,
Like a
you're kind
mantra
of
or
more
mantra.
locked in. Yeah, mantra, same type of thing. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you ever
Yeah.
have anything like that?
Um,
Go, Josh, go.
just like I was just I just kind of would basically tell myself stop being such a pussy and do this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, things like that. I always use the example of like, you remember Happy Gilmore when like he's freaking out and then he goes to his happy place and he's like, grandma, grandma, you know what I mean? But it actually does. It's true.
Yeah, I believe you.
And I always think of that too. I'm like, okay, that's my happy place.
Like, sorry, I'll stop laughing. It's that's actually a really nice explanation. I like the movie connection too. Happy Gilmore is a good spot.
Oh yeah, but
I like Happy Gilmore.
classic.
Do you have a favorite movie? I got two questions. One, do you have a favorite movie? Everyone does. And then two, do you have a favorite movie that helped inspire you with fighting? Go.
Yes, and I would say I have three favorite movies that I always say on my top of my list. One is Heat, amazing crime movie. You have never seen it.
No.
Legends of the Fall.
Okay.
Just like an awesome drama, and Sidekicks. And Sidekicks would be that movie that you just asked me the second question as far as fighting goes. It's a lot of people say it's like a knockoff Karate Kid, kind of is, but I like it way better.
Yeah.
And it's with Chuck Norris and Jonathan Brandis, and I watched that movie religiously as a kid. And the kid in the movie has asthma, and I had bad asthma growing up, so I think that's why I related to it. And yeah, that's one of my all-time favorites, dude. And still to this day, I still watch it all the time, and it's just fucking amazing. And that's why I was hurt when Chuck Norris died, because I fucking love Chuck. He was such an inspiration.
I think Karate Kid's the knockoff of Sidekicks by the sounds of it. So
Karate Kid came out about a decade before, but but yeah, I'll go with that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the truth of it. I was gonna ask you about your fight coming up. What's driving you to keep going, keep getting back in the ring at the age you are now?
When I first started, I always said like 35 would be my end, but that was when I was like 24 and didn't really know any better. But then I pushed it to 40. And now it's just like I don't know, man. I want to just do it as long as I can while I can still do it. And because I know I will miss it eventually, even all the bullshit that comes with it. And I know I still can compete, like when I go and spar with all the young guys now, and I can still put it on them too, and they put it on me too. But I'm not over the hill yet. But yeah, I just want to get a couple more and just have fun and enjoy the whole process, even when it's exhausting and you're tired and beat up. And so yeah, man. Yeah, just enjoy the final little stretch.
I see that you sometimes do commentating now for BTC and then also matchmaking. Are you thinking of kind of moving into that field more after you're done fighting, or are you kind of just like over the shoulder gone?
I'm doing it now, both. So it does, it's funny. I guess it'll keep me in the game. You know what I mean? As well as maybe coaching some guys and managing some guys. So I'll always kind of be in and around MMA to some degree, I guess. Unless I just say one day I say I'm done with the whole thing and change my life. But I think I'll always be part of me. I'll always train too. I love training. So
is that specifically with martial arts, or does that like vary to like just like weight training or like swimming or just like other forms of sports?
I'll go, like, I still play hockey once a week.
Understand that, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll always do that, man. I love playing. I'll go lift weights too. Golf. don't really get exercise from it, 'cause I drive a car when I do it.
Yeah.
But it's still so fun. But yeah, and you know, I I'll always go grapple. I'll go spar and hit the bag, things like that.
Yeah. Do you ever are you like an outdoorsy person as well, or no?
Yeah. Yep.
Like, sorry, I don't know if I got wind of my mic right now. Um, do you ever like do like big hikes, or because I don't consider myself a super outdoorsy person, but I do definitely like to go in nature for like runs and hikes and stuff. I don't know, do you do that as well?
Yep. Yep. I'll go. I'm not a huge runner. I will do it sometimes. But I do like going on hikes. I like camping, things like that. Um, you know, I don't live in the greatest area for like mountains and things like that, but
No,
make do
Niagara
with
is pretty
trails
flat.
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you? I've been getting into doing a lot more reading, and I've been asking other guests of this, just because like books are such a great way to learn. I mean, firstly, are you a reader at all or no?
I used to be, man. I used to read quite a bit, and then honestly, once I had a kid, I stopped doing it. I just,
Books stop reading themselves.
yeah, I know, right? Yeah, so I read a lot of Robert Munch with my kid right now, things like that. But yeah, not kids' books. But I haven't read in a while. I'd like to get back to it. I'll jump into it for a bit, and then I'll fall off. And but yeah, I do like it. Reading though.
Yeah. Are you like a fiction or like nonfiction guy?
More nonfiction. I like reading like biographies. I like a lot of reading like mental books, things like that.
Biographies. What did you kind of like? If you got to give me like one book that you'd give to me, what would it be?
Mind Gym. Yeah, Mind Gym. Yeah, go read that one. I think you'll like it, especially like you know, like for your competition for runs, things like that. It just kind of gives you a new look on the mental side of things. I really enjoyed it. That's what got me into the mental side of things.
Nice. Yeah, I'll definitely check that one out. And if anyone else is interested in reading that, we'll put that in the show description for you. I want to move into some blitz questions. These are always the best, just to end off the episode here. I have a good time with them. So here's the first question. Maybe this one's a bit of a curveball. Get ready for it. If you had to change your fight name from gentleman, I know it's kind of in the family, so maybe it's not ideal, but if you had to change your fight name, what would you change it to? Go.
Oh, I don't know. My buddies always joked about because I was short. They'd be like, "Oh, I like Pocket Hercules." That was always a funny one.
If you were playing like master matchmaker right now, who are two people you'd want to see in a fight anywhere in the world?
Anyone in the world?
Yeah.
Oh,
Conor
I would
McGregor.
love. I would love to beat up Justin Trudeau. So me and him, that'd be a great one. Yeah.
Conor McGregor, Justin Trudeau.
Yeah. I'd like to see him get beat up.
Okay. Firefighter or fighter? Which one has been scarier for you?
Firefighter or fighter? Fighter.
Fighter. Elaborate on that.
Just like it's all on you when you're a firefighter, you're going to help people that are in the scary situations already, right? Usually. So yeah. I'd say fighter because you're going into danger knowingly. I mean, you are as a fighter too, but you're not going to get punched in the head by somebody.
Yeah. Sometimes the firefights back real hard. You don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Who is the best fighter you've trained with that almost nobody knows about?
That almost nobody knows about.
Niche.
Oh man, trying to think of I'm gonna go with Doug Smith. Doug Smith is an old school. He's like 70 something years old. He comes to the gym. He still spars with the guys. He's like a 70s kickboxing champ way back then. But he reminds me of Chuck Norris actually. But he still comes and spars, and guys still moves like a cat, like he's like 30. Yeah. So Dougie's the man.
Okay. Shout out to Dougie on the show.
Yeah.
And last question for you. What's the weirdest thing you've ever said on commentary and then immediately regretted it?
On commentary. Basically ripping the judges, but I don't regret it. There's been some bad judges in Ontario, man. I mean, there's always bad judges, but especially in Ontario. One in particular, I'll be good, and I won't say this person's name, but yeah, every time I hear their scorecard, I'm just like, oh my god, like what are we doing here? Like, what is this shit? But yeah, um, yeah, I've that's happened a couple times. So
Were we? You don't have to say the message because we'll probably get too targeted at the judge. But what were you kind of ripping on them about? Just like their poor match or judging ability?
just yeah, like what are they watching and how are they scoring this fight for the other person? And yeah, it just like out to lunch. I thought, yeah.
That's a lunch. Good expression. All right. Well, that is where I'm going to leave it today for episode number 9 here. But before we end off, I want to ask Josh. I mean, people could search you up on Google and they'd find you real quick. But people want to, follow your story and everything else, especially because you got your fight coming up soon. Where can people go for that?
You could go on just my Instagram base. That's where I do everything. So at Gentleman J Hill, you can find me there. Yeah, August 15th, fight night, Barry. Yeah, it should be a fun one fighting a guy from Texas. He's a gamer. He's coming to scrap, and yeah, it'd be a fun night, man.
Awesome. And is there anywhere like people can go and like get tickets as well?
You can get tickets. Yeah, go to Fight Night Barry, their website, and get tickets there. And then I think you can also watch it on Millions, the stream.
Okay.
So yeah.
Awesome. Well, Josh, thanks so much for coming on the It's Adam show today. I appreciate you being episode number 9. Everybody that's watching, hopefully you guys got some value out of today's episode. Thanks for sticking around to the end. And of course, if you got some value, following and rating the show helps out more than you know. And other than that, we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.